Hello and welcome back to another Blender tutorial. Today we're going to be working on our robot by adding a battery compartment, and possibly we might be able to get to some of the lifting mechanisms and ball manipulation mechanisms. So the first step is we're just going to very quickly make a simple battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to mesh and we're going to add in a cube, and we're going to do / to go ahead and isolate this. By the way, I have upgraded to Blender 2.83, and from a standpoint of creating the objects, nothing has really changed that much. However, the render, there has been changes to rendering, basically small quality of life changes, nothing that you'll have to learn how to render again, but it's just very small changes that makes making objects in Blender and seeing them in the rendered view a little easier, but it doesn't really change anything from a standpoint of making the object. So you can go ahead and upgrade to Blender 2.83 if you want. You really won't need to do that until we get into the final episode where we render all of this. But in the meantime, we're just going to be focusing on creating all of this and creating a working robot. So first step is this battery. We're just going to shrink it down and then scale it up on the y-axis like that, probably a little bit on the X, make it a little smaller, and that's looking pretty good. So then what we're going to do is just add in a cylinder right here, and this is looking good. We're just going to shrink that down and pull this up and make sure we shade smooth, and then we're just going to go into edit mode and add those loop cuts so that we have a smooth looking cylinder just like that. And then what we might do is add in this here by pressing I to inset this face. I'm going to extrude it out. Do the exact same thing we did with this one by making a loop cut and inserting a face so that we get this smooth top. And on the bottom here, just create some loop cuts and pull those vertices inward. And then I just want to add a little extrusion point, so I just press Ctrl R and move my mouse wheel up once to get this double loop cut. I'm going to hold down Alt and try to select this band right here, and I'm just going to press E, S, and then Shift Z. E to extrude, S to scale, Shift Z to scale it outwards on everything except up and down. So we're just going to move it like this, which looks good, except for this weird smoothing because we have the shade smooth. So we're just going to add in some more loop cuts, not there, but here, 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 and here, and then the same on the bottom side. And if you didn't get it as far as you want, let's say I want to move this down a little more, just press G and then G again so that you can slide it. So this is looking good. There we go. Now we have kind of, we have a basic kind of battery thing right here. Just gonna shrink that down so it looks like that, and that looks pretty good. And then next we're just going to actually add some color, so we're going to have to go over to this right here for the viewport shading. I'm just going to press N to move this out of the way. And the reason why we weren't doing this earlier is because with the chassis and the axles, I was just going to assign those to the same metallic color, but for this we want a red and a blue for the battery. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and color it. So I'm just going to go over here and add a material. We're just going to make this kind of a metallic black, and that looks pretty good. And then here we're going to have that exact same material, and I'm going to go into edit mode and then go into side view, and then I am going to go and press X-ray right here, and I'm going to want to select, we just go ahead and actually X out of X-ray and select all of these and all of this by using Alt, if I am ever going to be able to get that rotation. Just keep trying, pressing Control Z. Let me see, there we go. And then will this work? There we go. So then I'm also just going to press using Shift Alt Z here. There we go, finally. And then just turn on X-ray and go ahead and select these here. And then we're just going to add a material, and we're just going to make this red, and then press assign, and there we go. So now we're going to go into edit mode, just go ahead and turn off X-ray, and I'm just going to press A for all, and I'm going to move this over to the side. And the reason why we're doing this in edit mode is because the origin actually stays there. As you can see here, it's rotating around that center piece, which means that all we have to do to get it on the other side is to press Shift D, R, Z, and 180. So I just duplicated it, I rotated it, and then I moved it on the Z axis. And then I moved it 180 degrees. So for here, we're just going to press this number 2 here to basically make this a second material. So as you see here, these are actually different materials, and we can just go ahead and make this kind of blue, and we have a pretty basic looking battery. So I'm just going to go ahead and take these and then select this right here, and I'm going to parent it, and I'm just going to call this battery. There we go. And if you want for a little extra realism, you can shade this cube smooth and then add in some loop cuts, but I'm not going to do that. You can if you want. So then I'm just going to press / to go back into this view, and we're going to shrink the battery down and push it off to the side for now. And then we're going to add in another cube, and basically this is just going to be a compartment to hold this battery. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this face and this face, and I'm going to press X and F. So we have deleted the faces, and then I'm going to go here and go to solidify. And the problem with this is we get this very odd effect here. So what we're going to have to do is go on the outside and just go ahead and extrude, and then scale, Shift Z to scale it outwards, and then down here we're just going to select all of these, and I'm just going to kind of scale them down so we have some dimensions. And then what we're going to do here is take this and take this piece on the back, and if we were to fill it, now we're going to have a problem because we're going to have a triangle right here, which we don't want because that's improper topology. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo that, and I'm going to add in 2 loop cuts if I can see. Yes, we're going to add in 2 loop cuts, extrude on the Y until about here. Actually, I don't think we needed to do that because in theory, so this method is pretty challenging because we have all of these right here. So we're going to try one more thing. We're just going to add in this cube and smush it down, and then scale it downwards like this, scale it out here, keep scaling so that it will fit the battery. That looks good. I'm going to press I to insert a face, And then I'm going to add a loop cut here, just like that. And then instead of sliding it, because I don't want to have to worry about this right here, I'm just going to grab it on the X and move it like this. And then probably go ahead and take these right here on the top. So take the top and take the back. We're just going to push that in. And then we're going to take these sides right here and extrude them up, and here we go. Now we actually have a very good looking battery compartment. So this is the right way, in my opinion, to do this. I'm just going to go ahead and see the face orientation. Everything looks good, making sure it's all facing the right way, and there we go. So now we're going to just probably take this piece right here. This is fine. It's fine. So then just take this box here, and I'm going to parent it to this, and I'm just going to call this Bat Compartment. And then I'm just going to go to top view and just move this into the robot to kind of fit it in, and that's looking pretty good. I just need to make sure it's not hanging out on the bottom. And if you want, we can rotate it like this so that it now looks flush. And that does make sense because we can have this as like a support kind of. And if you really wanted to do that, then it would be pretty easy just to take this edge right here, move it over, and then go over here and just extrude down as you want and have this kind of as a support. But yeah, that's looking very nice. So then we're just going to have to parent this to this. So we're just going to parent to object, and now it's part of the chassis. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this video, since it took a little while to figure out how this works. We're just going to probably leave it at here for now, and in the next video I think what we're going to do is try to make the climb mechanism, and then the video after that we'll make the ball manipulation. We'll make it so that everything acts with each other how we want it to, the wheels rotate, all of that stuff, and then we'll finally render it. But that's going to be all for this episode, so I'll see you guys in the next one.